This is the Mark Levin Audio Rewind.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, my friends. This is Mark Levin. Our number, 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got all kinds of stuff. But I want to start with something that you're not going to believe unless you listen to it. Chairman Obama. Yes, that's what we should call him. Chairman Obama has proposed Donald Berwick to serve as the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS. We have some audio from him, thanks to the Heartland Institute at heartland.org. And I want you to listen to this, because you folks on Medicare and Medicaid and all the rest of us, we're going to be affected by this guy. And you'll see what he is and what he believes and all this crap about how this won't harm you and how there's not going to be rationing and redistribution and so forth is just nonsense. It's coming fast, and it's coming with an iron fist. Remember this name, Donald Berwick, because now that I am highlighting it, and I mentioned him 2 weeks ago, I am hoping, not decrying, but hoping, that the backbenchers pick up on this now. So Donald Berwick, who would be running Medicare and Medicaid, this is him in the United Kingdom in 2008. One of 4 clips. Cut 1, go.
Government action in the NHS is not mere restlessness or meddling or recreation. It is accountability at work through the maddening, majestic machinery of politics.
Yes, democracy sucks. So here we have the NHS, Britain's National Health Service, which is a disaster, at least from my perspective. He thinks it's this pearl hanging out there, and then all this other messy stuff. Cut 2, go.
In the United States, these hundreds of insurance companies have a strong interest in not selling health insurance to people who are likely to need health care. Our insurance companies try to predict who will need care and then to find ways to exclude them from coverage through underwriting and selective marketing. That increases their profits. Here you know that is not just crazy, it is immoral.
Right. Our insurance companies and our entire healthcare system is immoral. Despite the fact people leave Britain and Canada and these other national healthcare utopias to come here for their healthcare. And we also know, because I went through the census report and I've written about it at length and I've talked about it at length, that very few people aren't covered by insurance who need insurance. Very few. Most of them are people who choose not to be covered and are not ill and don't have pre-existing conditions. Others are illegal aliens. And there's about 10 million people, give or take a million, who don't have health insurance and require it. That is, they need it and want it. And we could have addressed that instead of destroying the whole system. But Berwick is part of the government-run, iron fist, centralized, socialist healthcare mafia. So he speaks more, as he does in the United Kingdom, the man that Obama would have atop the Medicare and Medicare programs. Cut 3, go.
You could have had a simpler less ambitious, less troubled plan than the NHS. You could have had the American plan.
Stop. See that? Our plan sucks. Go ahead.
You could have been spending 17% of your GDP to make health care unaffordable as a human right, instead of spending 9% and guaranteeing it as a human right.
All right, stop. What he's doing there is comparing us, in his own bizarre way, to Britain. And he's saying the single-payer, government-run system in Britain, where doctors and nurses and technicians of all sorts are government employees, that system is far preferable to ours. So once again, Obama picks a radical leftist ideologue like himself to run these programs. Go ahead.
You could have kept your system in fragments and encouraged supply-driven demand instead of making tough choices and planning supply.
Stop. That's rationing. In other words, they do not like the fact that individuals are making decisions voluntarily without big government looking over their shoulders, whether they are providers like doctors and hospitals and nurses and so forth, pharmaceutical companies, or patients like us. So he's condemning that. He's condemning liberty in the context of the healthcare system. He is applauding some form of totalitarianism in the form of the healthcare system. Go ahead.
You could have made hospitals and specialists, not general practice, your mainstay. You could have obscured, you could have obliterated accountability or left it to the invisible hand of the market instead of holding your politicians ultimately accountable for getting the NHS sorted.
There you go. Now, let me tell you something. People who constantly attack capitalism, the invisible hand that upsets them so, and constantly promote the iron fist. The iron fist over the invisible hand. What are these people? Are they moderate Democrats? Are they centrists? Are they simply experts? What are they? Well, I'll tell you what they are. They're Marxists. And so we have another Marxist in our midst, and here he's going to be running, from an executive point of view, Medicare and Medicaid in our system if Obama has his way. I wanted you to hear it from this guy's mouth. Go ahead.
You could have let an unaccountable system play out in the darkness of private enterprise instead of accepting that a politically accountable system must act in the harsh and admittedly sometimes very unfair daylight of the press, public debate, and political campaigning.
There it is. Private enterprise is a disaster. What we need is top-down bureaucratic rule. And sometimes it's harsh, but so be it. Rationing, price controls, in other words, a massive government monopoly. The sort of monopolies that the government has antitrust laws to break up in the private sector is what they recommend for the government. No competition, all straitjacketed. And again, this is the man who will be running Medicare and Medicaid if Obama has his way. His name is Donald Berwick. Now we've come to the icing on the proverbial cake.